Welcome to Well Explained, students. Here I am with Class 7 Science, Chapter 14, Wind and Storm. So, students, before starting this chapter, I want to ask that can you recognize these pictures? What is happening in these? First slide is this. Second, and this is third one. These three are natural disasters. Disasters means something which causes a huge loss to life and property. And these three are natural disasters because they occur in nature. A natural disaster or calamity can severely impact us as it could lead to the loss of lives. It disrupts the normal activities and damage to the economy of our country. Now, I think you all have recognized what are these. The number one is thunderstorm. The second slide was of cyclone. And the third one is a tornado. Now in this chapter we are going to discuss about these three natural disasters along with some terms like air pressure, what are the instruments used to measure air, speed of air or direction of wind, and so on, and few activities also we are going to discuss. First of all, coming to air pressure. But before air pressure, what is air? Air is actually a mixture of gases, and the pressure which is exerted by air is called as air pressure. This air exerts pressure in all directions and on all objects. And this pressure which is exerted by air, it depends on two factors. These are the temperature and the altitude. Temperature, you know, this is the degree of hotness or coldness, and altitude is the height above the sea level. Now, what is atmosphere of the earth? The earth is surrounded by an envelope of air which is called as the atmosphere, and this atmosphere too exerts a pressure on the earth, and this is known as atmospheric pressure. This atmosphere exerts pressure on the earth. Why? Because of the weight of the air. Okay. You can see this windmill is working. But how is this working? And you can see the small plants, they are moving because of the air. We cannot see air, but we can feel it. And when the air moves, it is known as wind. You must have studied that moving air is called as wind. Now to show that air exerts pressure, we'll perform a simple activity, and this you all can perform at home also. To show this, we'll take a glass and fill it with water up to the brim. इस बिल्कुल ऊपर तक पानी उसमें भर लिया with no bubbles inside. Bubbles means if bubbles will be there, that means air is there. So there should be no bubble. Now what we have to do is we have to cover this glass with a cardboard lid. Now we'll place our one hand gently on the lid and turn it upside down as you can see in the figure. Now slowly we'll remove our hand and we will observe that cardboard sheet does not fall down and the water from the glass does not spill. Why? Because the air pressure pushing up on the cardboard prevents the cardboard from falling, and this proves that air exerts pressure. Means आपने ऊपर उसको बिल्कुल गले तक भर लिया पानी से, इसका मतलब उसमें कुछ भी एयर नहीं, water is there and you covered it with a cardboard lid. और जब आपने उसको पलटा तो जो नीचे जो एयर थी, सराउंडिंग एयर, इट pushed the cardboard up, okay, thereby not letting the water to come down out of the glass. Now air exerts pressure. It can be understood by these examples. Tube of bicycle gets inflated when air is filled in it. This happens because air exerts pressure. It is difficult to move the bicycle against the direction of wind. Similarly, a sailor feels it difficult to sail his boat against the direction of wind, and this all happens because of air exerts pressure. And you must have seen कि when you blow air into a balloon, balloon में जब आप air भरते हैं तो भरता जाता है and a time comes that it bursts. Initially, the balloon gets inflated, and after, if you keep on blowing air into it, a time will come and the balloon will burst because air exerts pressure on the walls of the balloon. Now, to show the presence of atmospheric pressure, as we have studied in the previous slide, that the pressure exerted by the atmosphere is known as atmospheric pressure, and we can prove it. Here is one activity. We'll take a metal can with a tight cap and fill about 1/3 of it with water. Okay, एक metal की can ली, उसमें 1/3 पानी लिया और उस पर कैप होनी चाहिए, पर अभी हमने उसमें लगाई नहीं है, सिर्फ पानी भरा है. Keep the can without its cap on the stove or burner and boil the water for some time till a lot of steam escapes. अब इस can को, metal can को हमने स्टोव पर या बर्नर पे रखा और उस पानी को तब तक बॉईल किया तब तक बहुत सारी स्टीम नहीं बन गई. Now what we have to do, using a pair of tongs, चिमटे की हेल्प से we'll remove the can from the stove and immediately we'll close its mouth with cap tightly. उसको हटाया हमने चिमटे की हेल्प से और उसके कैप लगा दी tightly. Now what we have to do is we have to pour some cold water on the can and observe. अब हमने उस can पर बहुत ठंडा पानी डाला और उसको observe किया. क्या हुआ? We will find that the can got crushed. जैसे ही हमने ठंडा पानी डाला, वो can crush हो गई. This happens because the steam produced during boiling of water pushes almost all the air inside the can. जब steam produce हुई, जब हमने water को boil किया तो steam produce हुई. स्टीम ने क्या किया कि सारी एयर को कैन से बाहर निकाल दिया. अब क्या रह गया कैन में? या तो वाटर है या स्टीम है. और जब हमने उस पर कोल्ड वाटर डाला कैन पर तो स्टीम जो थी वो कंडेंस हो गई. जब कंडेंस हो गई तो इट अगेन फॉर्म्ड वाटर और जो जगह बची उसमें कुछ भी नहीं था. So the pressure of air inside the can becomes less and the pressure outside more and the can gets crushed. Okay. Now air expands on heating. The volume of a given amount of air depends on its temperature. As the temperature of air increases, its volume also increases. Why? Because its particles move apart and that is air expands on heating. जब कोई चीज गर्म होती है तो वो expand होती है. क्यों? क्योंकि उसके particles दूर दूर हो जाते हैं. Okay. Air becomes lighter as it expands. अब जब वो expand हुई तो वो light हो गई, हल्की हो गई and due to decrease in its density and thus rises up in the atmosphere. तो वो धीरे धीरे जो warm air होती है और hot air होती है, it rises up in the atmosphere. And this we can show through this activity, air expands on heating. We'll take a slightly inflated balloon and fix it to the mouth of a 2-liter bottle. देखिए आपने एक बॉटल ली है, उसके ऊपर हमने एक बलून लगा दिया है. Okay. Now we will place the bottle in a pan of hot water. We will find that the balloon gets inflated when it is kept in hot water. क्यों? क्योंकि जब हमने hot water में उसको रखा तो बॉटल में जो air थी it gets heated up and the hot water heats the air in the bottle. The air expands क्योंकि अब hot हो गई, heated हो गई, तो वो air expand हुई and it inflated the balloon. This shows air expands on heating. Now wind and formation of winds. What is wind? Wind is moving air as we have studied in our earlier classes. And This how these winds are formed because of the uneven heating of land. When air on the surface of the earth is heated by the sun, it expands and rises up, creating a low pressure region below. When the sun shines and whenever the sun rays fall, that area gets heated up. जब लैंड हीटेड अप है तो उसके ऊपर जो भी चीजें हैं वो भी हीट अप होंगी. तो एयर गेट्स हीटेड अप. व्हेन इट गेट्स हीटेड अप इट एक्सपैंड्स एंड इट राइजेस अप क्रिएटिंग अप. एयर ऊपर चली गई तो यहाँ पर जगह खाली हो गई तो प्रेशर लो प्रेशर रीजन इज देयर. एयर फ्रॉम द नियर बाय हाई प्रेशर रीजन्स. अब पास में जो भी हाई प्रेशर रीजन्स हैं वहां से एयर जो है इट विल फ्लो इनटू दीज लो प्रेशर रीजन्स एंड कॉजेस wind. The hot air rises up, cools and then sinks down. जो hot air ऊपर गई, ऊपर atmosphere में because the temperature is less, it cools over there and then it sinks down. This continues and a cycle of airflow is formed which is called as wind current. Now high speed winds reduces the pressure. Wind flowing over a region reduces the pressure in that particular region. The more the speed of the wind, the lower will be the pressure. This interesting fact was observed by a Swiss mathematician and physicist, Daniel Bernoulli. Now, to prove that high-speed wind reduces the pressure, we'll do this activity. We'll take a piece of paper and we'll hold it near our mouth and we will blow air over it. When we will blow air over it, we will see that the paper lifts up when we blow air. This happens because when we blow air, the air pressure decreases above the paper. अब हमने ऊपर उसे फूंक मारी तो वो air वहां से हटी, air pressure कम हो गया, okay? And the pressure below the paper being higher, it pushes the paper up. But paper के नीचे तो pressure higher, तो वो paper को ऊपर push करता है. This also proves that air provides a lift. We have also observed that roofs of the houses gets blown away during strong winds. This is because lift is provided by the wind flowing over the roof. आपने देखा होगा जब बहुत तेज हवा चलती है, आंधी आती है, तो जो घर होते हैं उनकी खपरेल है या टीन की चादरें हैं वो उड़ जाती हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि जब बहुत तेज हवा चलती है तो जैसे टीन पड़ी हुई है, टीन शेड है, उसके ऊपर एयर खूब तेज जा रही है, तो मीन्स प्रेशर रिड्यूस हो गया. अंदर प्रेशर एयर का ज्यादा है and it provides a lift and the roof gets blown away. When the wind blows, the air pressure above the roof decreases. The pressure exerted by the air below the roof is so high that it lifts the roof, which then gets blown away. Now the wind speed. The speed of wind is known as wind speed. It is the rate of flow of wind in the atmosphere of the earth. It is commonly measured using a device called anemometer. As you can see in this is a cup shaped anemometer. It is known as cup anemometer and the speed of the wind is expressed in kilometers per hour. It has 3 to 4 cups hoisted on a vertical pole at right angles to each other. When the wind blows, it presses on the inner walls of the cup, thereby rotating it, and from this we can find out the speed of the wind. Now the direction of the wind is determined by the direction from which wind originates. Wind direction is found by using devices such as wind vane. As you can see in this is a wind vane and a wind sock. The wind vane consists of an arrow. You can see an arrow hoisted on a vertical plane or a vertical pole or a rod that can rotate. This vertical rod you can see it can rotate. You can see this is rotating. Okay. The rear part of the arrow is broad. This one is broad and it provides more surface area for the wind. Thus wind hits the rear part with more force and this causes the wind vane to align in such a way that the pointed part of the arrow always faces the direction. This pointed part which is this moving north. This pointed part of the arrow always faces the direction of the wind. Next instrument with which we can find out the direction is the windsock. You can see in this slide. This is a windsock. The wind blows, it moves, showing the direction of the wind. That's all for this part. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. In the next part, we are going to discuss the natural disasters such as thunderstorm, cyclones, tornadoes, how to take how can we take preventions in such natural disaster. Till then, keep watching, keep learning. Have a nice day.